What if there's a way that you can get your properties 100% for free? If this is something that you'd like to know, I'd like to invite you to a webinar that I'm going to have called the Property Accelerator, where I'm going to explain all of this. I'm Hannes Dreyer, I'm the founder of the Property School in the Wealth Creators Method, and I'd like to introduce you to the method that I'm using in order to get all my properties for free. So what is it that you're going to learn during this webinar? I'm going to start off with the mindsets, because this is where most people go wrong. We believe that a property is a great investment. What if I'm telling you that the worst decision that you can make is to buy a property, because most people are going to buy a property in the wrong way. And simply by buying that property is going to cost them financial freedom. So I'm going to spend a little bit of time with that, and then I'm going to show you this idea that to pay back your property, that is one of the worst ideas ever, is for you to pay back your property, or to try to pay it off fast. I know everyone is going to tell you it's a good thing, and the banks will try to tell you, but it's a lie. It is not the truth, and I'll demonstrate that to you, and I'll show you why I say that. Then I'm going to show you, a lot of people come to me and say, Hannes, but the banks do not want to give me more money, or my security is not right, or I haven't got a job, but I want to invest in property. Now, the trick with property is that it's all about the risk, right? So the banks are covering themselves because they know the chances are that you do not have the skills, and therefore they say no to you. But the truth is that there are ways. There are 8 ways that we teach in the property mentoring course, where you can get all your properties without the help of a bank. So there are different ways, but it's very risky. So what is risk? Risk is when you do not know what you're doing, and that is unfortunately what most people are doing. So it is maybe not a good thing to get properties and buy that property without having the skills. Now, there are 27 variables when it comes to property, and unless you understand the variable, which by the way is the risk, you will not be able to learn the skill which we teach during the property school, the mentoring course, how to offset that. And by offsetting the risk, it becomes less and less money that you'll need to get the property over the property's lifetime, but at the same time the growth is going to go up. In other words, that is a way to get the property for free. So you can use this technique. I'm going to give you one of the 8 techniques that we use in general to show you that you don't need the bank. So even if you do not have the security at the moment, or the banks do not want to give you more money, you can still do that. But it's not to say that it's going to be a good thing unless you understand the process. Once we've established that, we're going to use that then as a benchmark, that you buy a property, but it's a wrong property, the way that 95% of people are buying it. And then we're going to take it and we're going to say, okay, but how can I accelerate this process? And in the acceleration process, there are 3 secrets. So the first secret has got to do with the mindset. The second secret, and not falling for this trap that property is a great investment. The second secret is there's a way to accelerate your success. We call it the golden triangle success method. And I'm going to give that to you. In other words, you do not have to go to university and get a degree or rely on other people in order to become super successful. That is what you're going to learn, and you're going to get it like this. In other words, with no financial education, no financial background, not even a matric, you can invest in properties and become very successful. And then we're going to get into the accelerator secret number 3. And this is where the magic is going to happen. We're going to use that property as a benchmark, the one that we've evaluated, and then I'm going to show you that there's a way where you can get your property where it's not going to cost you a cent more than a normal way of buying a property. And on top of that, that property will be paid in 5 years in full. In other words, there will not be a bond in 5 years' time. And it's not going to cost you a cent more, not even 1,000 Rand on a R1 million property. So that is going to be amazing. Then we're going to add the next accelerator. And that accelerator is simply going to, by following that and without costing you more money, not only will you be in a position to buy that and pay off that property in full, right, without costing you a cent more, you'll also be in a position where you're going to have anything, depending on what's going to happen with the economy, you'll have anything from 300 to 700,000 Rand in cash additional to accelerate the process. And it's not necessarily by buying more properties, which you'll learn also. Another thing that I see, that people think that you should buy more and more property. That's a lie. It's a growth on your investment. And one property, the growth, if you can get the right growth on that property, is better than 200 properties by not, in other words, normal properties. And again, I'll be able to prove that during the webinar. And people, initially, it's mind-boggling. They don't believe me. But when you see how simple it is, you're going to say, flip, I wish I knew that this 10 or 20 years ago, or even last year when I bought my property. Now, the third accelerator that we're going to discuss in this secret is mind-boggling. I've taken on a 500K challenge 5 months ago, right? About 5 months ago. I started with 100 Rand, and by applying the Wealth Creator strategy, in other words, the method, I'm going to buy properties, or today I can be in a position where I can buy a property of 1.8 million. And it cost me in total, without the bank, without the mortgage, without nothing, 100 Rand. Now, this is amazing, but you must have the skills. And I'm going to tell you and share with you the blueprint that I and my students, what we are using in order to be able to do this. It is absolutely crazy, but it's going to take time, it's going to take effort to implement it. So during the webinar, that is not going, I can't teach you a skill set, except for one, during the webinar. It is simply impossible. We haven't got the time. And that is what I want to do during that webinar, is to show you what we're going to do, and then how to use that property, right, as the security blanket to build a 20 to a 30 million empire within a 5-year period. And I'm sure that at least listen to the process, so that you know the process, and then you can make an informed decision. Now, the webinar is going to be 2 hours, but please give another hour at least, because there will be a live question and answer session right at the end. That normally takes anything from 30 minutes to even an hour and a half. I will not leave until each and every question has been answered, right? Of course, to the best of my ability, or I'm going to show you where to find the answer. I'm not a financial advisor, so I'm not going to give any financial advice. I'm going to use the question and answer session as part of the training process, part of the educational process. So if it's something that you are interested in, please make sure there's a button that says book now. If you find this on YouTube, you're going to find there's in the description area, you'll see there's an invite to the Property Accelerator Masterclass with a link. Click on that link, book your seat, and then whatever you do, make sure that you pitch up, because it's going to be mind-boggling. Thanks for your time, and I'll see you then during the webinar.